is bad hunting. Come, let us see what this man means toward us." "We will not come," Grey Brother growled. "Hunt alone, Little Brother. We know our own minds. The skull would have been ready to bring by now." Mowgli had been looking from one to the other of his friends, his chest heaving and his eyes full of tears. He strode forward to the wolves, and, dropping on one knee, said, "Do I not know my mind? Look at me." They looked uneasily, and when their eyes wandered he called them back again and again, till their hair stood up all over their bodies, and they trembled in every limb, while Mowgli stared and stared. "Now," said he, "of us 5, which is leader?" "Thou art leader, Little Brother," said Grey Brother, and he licked Mowgli's foot. "Follow, then," said Mowgli, and the 4 followed at his heels with their tails between their legs. "This comes of living with the Man Pack," said Bagheera, slipping down after them. "There is more in the Jungle now than Jungle Law, Baloo." The old bear said nothing, but he thought many things. Mowgli cut across noiselessly through the Jungle, at right angles to Buldeo's path, till, parting the undergrowth, he saw the old man, his musket on his shoulder, running up the trail of overnight at a dog trot. You will remember that Mowgli had left the village with the heavy weight of Shere Khan's raw hide on his shoulders, while Akela and Grey Brother trotted behind, so that the triple trail was very clearly marked. Presently Buldeo came to where Akela, as you know, had gone back and mixed it all up. Then he sat down, and coughed and grunted, and made little casts round and about into the Jungle to pick it up again, and all the time he could have thrown a stone over those who were watching him. No one can be so silent as a wolf when he does not care to be heard. And Mowgli, though the wolves thought he moved very clumsily, could come and go like a shadow. They ringed the old man as a school of porpoises ring a steamer at full speed, and as they ringed him they talked unconcernedly, for their speech began below the lowest end of the scale that untrained human beings can hear. The other end is bounded by the high squeak of Mang the bat, which very many people cannot catch at all. From that note all the bird and bat and insect talk takes on. "This is better than any kill," said Grey Brother, as Buldeo stooped and peered and puffed. "He looks like a lost pig in the jungles by the river." "What does he say?" Buldeo was muttering savagely. Mowgli translated. "He says that packs of wolves must have danced round me. He says that he never saw such a trail in his life. He says he is tired." "He will be rested before he picks it up again," said Bagheera coolly, as he slipped round the tree trunk, in the game of blind man's buff that they were playing. "Now, what does the lean thing do?" "Eat or blow smoke out of his mouth. Men always play with their mouths," said Mowgli. And the silent trailers saw the old man fill and light and puff at a water pipe, and they took good note of the smell of the tobacco, so as to be sure of Buldeo in the darkest night, if necessary. Then a little knot of charcoal burners came down the path, and naturally halted to speak to Buldeo, whose fame as a hunter reached for at least 20 miles round. They all sat down and smoked, and Bagheera and the others came up and watched while Buldeo began to tell the story of Mowgli, the Devil child, from one end to another, with additions and inventions. How he himself had really killed Shere Khan, and how Mowgli had turned himself into a wolf and fought with him all the afternoon, and changed into a boy again and bewitched Buldeo's rifle, so that the bullet turned the corner when he pointed it at Mowgli, and killed one of Buldeo's own buffaloes. And how the village, knowing him to be the bravest hunter in Seeonee, had sent him out to kill this devil child. But meantime the village had got hold of Messua and her husband, who were undoubtedly the father and mother of this devil child, and had barricaded him in their own hut, and presently would torture them to make them confess that they were witch and wizard, and then they would be burned to death. "When?" said the charcoal burners, because they would very much like to be present at the ceremony. Buldeo said that nothing would be done till he returned, because the village wished him to kill the Jungle Boy first. After that they would dispose of Messua and her husband, and divide their lands and buffaloes among the village. Messua's husband had some remarkably fine buffaloes too. It was an excellent thing to destroy wizards, Buldeo thought, and people who entertained wolf children out of the jungle were clearly the worst kind of witches. "But," said the charcoal burners, "what would happen if the English heard of it?" The English, they had heard, were a perfectly mad people who would not let honest farmers kill witches in peace. "Why," said Buldeo, "the head man of the village would report that Messua and her husband had died of snake bite. That was all arranged, and the only thing now was to kill the wolf child. They did not happen to have seen anything of such a creature." The charcoal burners looked round cautiously, and thanked their stars they had not. But they had no doubt that so brave a man as Buldeo would find him if anyone could. The sun was getting rather low, and they had an idea that they would push on to Buldeo's village and see that wicked witch. Buldeo said that, though it was his duty to kill the devil child, he could not think of letting a party of unarmed men go through the jungle, which might produce the wolf demon at any minute, without his escort. He, therefore, would accompany them, and if the sorceress child appeared, well, he would show them how the best hunter in Seeonee dealt with such things. The Brahmin, he said, had given him a charm against the creature that made everything perfectly safe. "What says he? What says he? What says he?" the wolves repeated every few minutes, and Mowgli translated until he came to the witch part of the story, which was a little beyond him, and then he said that the man and woman who had been so kind to him were trapped. "Does man trap man?" said Bagheera. "So he says. I cannot understand the talk. They are all mad together. What have Messua and her man to do with me, that they should be put in a trap? And what is all this talk about the Red Flower? I must look to this. Whatever they would do to Messua, they will not do till Buldeo returns. And so—" Mowgli thought hard, with his fingers playing round the haft of the skinning knife, while Buldeo and the charcoal burners went off very valiantly in single file. "I go hot-foot back to the Man Pack," Mowgli said at last. "And those?" said Grey Brother, looking hungrily after the brown backs of the charcoal burners. "Sing them home," said Mowgli with a grin. "I do not wish them to be at the village gates till it is dark. Can you hold them?" Grey Brother bared his white teeth in contempt. "We can head them round and round in circles like tethered goats, if I know man." "That I do not need. Sing to them a little, lest they be lonely on the road. And, Grey Brother, the song need not be of the sweetest. Go with them, Bagheera, and help make that song. When night is shut down, meet me by the village. Grey Brother knows the place." "It is no light hunting to work for a man cub. When shall I sleep?" said Bagheera, yawning, though his eyes showed that he was delighted with the amusement. "Me to sing to naked man! But let us try." He lowered his head so that the sound would travel, and cried a long, long "good hunting," a midnight call in the afternoon, which was quite awful enough to begin with. Mowgli heard it rumble and rise and fall and die off in a creepy sort of whine